Good afternoon and welcome to this week's COVID-19 Live Town Hall, focused on your health and safely reopening our economy. My name's Terry, your moderator on the call. There's a lot happening again this week, and we know you have many questions. Your Douglas County Commissioners, Roger Partridge, Laura Thomas, and Abe Layden are live and ready to take your questions. Also joining on the phone to answer your questions are Sean Duffy from the Douglas County Libraries Board and Dr. John Douglas and Melissa Saeger from the Tri-County Health Department. Press *3 on your phone keypad at any time to ask a question. We know everyone has lots of questions, and we'll get to those very soon. But first, we'll hear some updates from your commissioners, Tri-County Health, and the Douglas County Libraries. Commissioner Layden, would you like to get us started with an update about Independence Day fireworks?
I will. Thank you so much, Terry, and hello to everybody. Thank you for joining us today. It's an honor to be with you, as always. This, I believe, is our 13th live town hall, and it's really a pleasure to be able to answer your questions. Real briefly, let me just say I'm thrilled to be off of injured reserve, and I want to thank my fellow commissioners for doing such a great job in my absence. I was hit by an errant 9-iron on a golf course, but I just want to thank everyone for the wonderful outpouring of encouragement and support. So tonight we're talking a little bit about fireworks and Independence Day. And again, I really want to sing the praises of my fellow board members because for many municipalities in Douglas County, we heard that fireworks were just not going to be an option this year for a variety of reasons. And as Douglas County, we took a step back and thought about what the message of dark skies might mean to citizens in this unprecedented year. And after further reflection, we thought, well, can we come alongside our towns and our municipalities and our citizens to remind them that they are brave, resilient, and free, again, in this truly unprecedented year. So, we don't take our liberties, our independence, or our equality for granted, and certainly much work remains to be done on those fronts. We also really want to thank all those that have served honorably to protect those essential freedoms. So we're really hoping that families get to enjoy the fireworks celebrations. So to provide a little specifics, we're talking about 3 different fireworks celebrations, and my colleagues will share a little bit about the fireworks celebrations in their particular districts, but there will be 3 on July 4th at 9:30 p.m. occurring simultaneously. We're really encouraging people to get your lawn chairs out, go in your front yard. They should be high enough and bright enough that you should be able to see them right from where you're at. But if not, you can certainly drive out to high points within Douglas County. We are coordinating very closely with fire and the Douglas County Sheriff's Office to make sure that we are really providing some traffic control and limiting any and all fire danger. That's certainly top of mind. But if you do go to a high point, stay with your families, gather in your cars or nearby, and look up and celebrate your independence. So there will be launches from the Lone Tree Parker area in my district, District 1. There will be fireworks in Castle Rock, sponsored by the town of Castle Rock. And there will also be fireworks in District 3 in Highlands Ranch. And my colleagues will speak a little bit about those, but let me just share some information about the launch from the Parker Lone Tree location. So it's going to take place from a site that's approximately 0.75 miles west of the intersection of North Pinery Parkway and Parker Road, which is Highway 83. Please keep in mind that portions of Scott Road and Bayou Gulch Road near the launch site will be closed. In the interest of public safety, law enforcement agencies have established some no parking zones. But again, if you're unable to view from your home, please plan ahead and prepare to honor the no parking signs when choosing a viewing location. For this particular district, because we know the location and the topography, we are recommending a couple of potential locations for viewing if you're not able to see them from your home. But those would be the Bayou Gulch Regional Park, the Bingham Lake Park, which does have some limited parking, the Cherry Tree Trailhead, also some limited parking, and then Trinity Lutheran Church, which has also graciously offered to allow citizens to use their parking. Another option, a final option, if you can't get to these locations and you can't see them from your front yard, you can watch the fireworks simultaneously online at the county's website or on the county's Facebook page. There'll be a brief message from your Board of County Commissioners and some great patriotic music playing to the simultaneous firework displays. So we're really looking forward to this Saturday. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you, Commissioner Layton. Commissioner Thomas, you're next. Commissioner Thomas?
Gosh, you would think after 4 months I'd remember how to turn on my mute button. Good gracious, excuse me for that mistake. So thank you for everyone to listen to what we have to say. We certainly miss seeing all of you in person out at the many events we went to. And so Highlands Ranch is going to be having their fireworks at Mountain Vista High School. So the high school is going to be closed off. There's going to be no bouncy houses, no food trucks. There's no community events, but you certainly can find a place from your home if you can see the fireworks from Mountain Vista High School. If that's not a good location, you can drive to some park or some area and watch the fireworks from that location. And just know that the commissioners really wanted to bring our community together and celebrate what makes America great, and that is who we are as Americans. We know that there was a fire near Mountain Vista High School in the backcountry on Monday, and we certainly have heard from many residents in backcountry who are so concerned, understandably, about fire. Know that the committee that is overseeing these displays is watching the fire restrictions and the conditions very carefully, and nothing will happen that is not safe. And Commissioner Partridge will have more information about that later in the show, so continue to listen. And thank you again for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Commissioner Thomas. Commissioner Partridge.
Thank you, Terry. And as my fellow commissioners, Layden and Thomas, mentioned, our 3 areas of fireworks for the July 4th. Now, for the Castle Rock area, kudos to Castle Rock. They will be sending, the town of Castle Rock will be sending off their fireworks on the west side of I-25, right above Red Hawk Golf Course. There's a quarry site that they've used before. So that is in a way, we call it a partnering with Castle Rock, but it's really credit to the Castle Rock for doing this. We just want to give a real shout out to them and Mayor Jason Gray for making that happen. And also, we will be planning later in the month for July 24th will be the kickoff of the fair. That'll be Hometown Rodeo, a Friday night. And that is in cooperation with Castle Rock also. We'll be shooting fireworks off from that same site. So we look forward to hearing the excitement that builds. And I may just take the opportunity, Commissioner Thomas mentioned a little bit more information. We know there's a lot of concern, and please know your commissioners, your sheriff's office, your fire departments all have that same concern right now with your dry conditions. So please know this is an objective analysis that is done on a daily basis, that our emergency management coordinator in his office underneath the sheriff looks at 7 criteria, 7 objective criteria to determine the fuels, the amount of service that is available, and the temperatures, all the conditions that would be present for fire. And they look at these 7 conditions very cautiously and provide that information to the sheriff, who makes the determination if we are either in stage 1, stage 2 fire restrictions. And so that is done in an objective manner, regardless whether it's July 4th, whether it's August 10th, or whether it's October 20th. So any day they look at these criteria, and that is being looked at today and will be continued to look at all the way through 4th of July and beyond. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you, Commissioner Partridge. What a wonderful way to celebrate Independence Day. As a quick reminder, please press *3 on your phone keypad at any time to ask a question. Again, press *3 on your phone keypad to ask a question. And now the commissioners and Dr. Douglas will share the most recent Douglas County COVID-19 public health data. The good news that creates the conditions for Douglas County to continue moving forward, reopening our economy. And as we get started, we will show 3 slides for our online viewers. The first illustrates COVID cases by county, the next hospitalizations by county, and then finally daily hospitalizations. We're going to start with Commissioner Thomas. Let's hear from you first.
Thank you, Terry. You know, as the former Douglas County coroner, I'm always interested in the deaths that are coming in through our county. And so I did a little research. In 2019, the average number of deaths in Douglas County were 4.25 per day. So keep that in mind that a little over 4 people a day die in Douglas County already. So when we look at the COVID cases, the deaths in June, there were 6. So 6 people died in Douglas County from COVID. And then there were 3 deaths in Douglas County, 3, and 6 hospitalizations. So if you keep in mind that 4 people a day die, and we lost 3 for the entire month of Douglas County, that really puts in perspective of the severity of the virus. And again, 6 were hospitalized. Let's just talk about the number of hospitalizations here. So this slide shows that there were 6 hospitalized. And I'd like to move to the slide that talks about total hospitalizations by county. So this slide shows that Douglas County has had a total of 183 hospitalized since the beginning of the pandemic for Douglas County. Compare that to Arapahoe County of 1,115 cases of hospitalizations. And bringing up the rest of Tri-County Health is Adams County with 632. So when you just see the number of hospitalizations, you can see how really safe and how good the conditions are in Douglas County for our residents compared to the other counties in the district. Thank you for having the opportunity to talk about the data.
Thank you, Commissioner Thomas. Now we'll go to Commissioner Layden.
Thank you, Terry, and Commissioner Thomas for that update. I think it really underscores the value of the data and the fact that this Board of County Commissioners, alongside our exceptional partners at Tri-County Health, have really been aggregating and studying the numbers on a daily basis for 4 months. And I think it's important to point out that as of today, July 1st, 2020, we have had 52 total deaths with an average age of death of 81. And no doubt, every individual that has passed away is special and important, and we deeply value them. But I think it's informative to look at this data and recognize who's being affected and at what rate. In terms of total deaths, 92.1% of them are in the 65 plus range. So we do know that this is consistent with earlier assumptions and conversations around vulnerable populations, seniors, and those that have underlying conditions. So we're aware of that. We also know that there have been, again, 183 hospitalizations with an average age of 64 for those hospitalizations. So as we've continued to look at this data on a daily basis, this Board of County Commissioners has really reflected again on the dual crisis, knowing that anytime there is a top-down mandate to close businesses, that there is a drastic and dramatic effect on lives and livelihoods with regard to the economy. When people can't feed their families, when they can't go to work, when they can't make a living, the negative externalities associated with that are just so incredibly dramatic. And so we've tried to be really thoughtful about those issues. And we've really encouraged the decision makers, which unfortunately are not us. We know under Title 25 that really it's the local public health agency, and frankly, it's been the state orders under Governor Polis since the original stay-at-home order. But we have encouraged the state to take a look at our numbers in comparison to other jurisdictions and give free people the liberty to make decisions for themselves how to take care of their own health. So if you're 81 and you have an underlying respiratory condition, you might make a decision to stay at home. And we certainly want to respect and value that. But we're very cautious when it comes to top-down mandates. We did draft correspondence to Governor Jared Polis reflecting these considerations and really asking him to take a harder look at our public health policy when it comes to Douglas County and these numbers, and perhaps shifting that philosophy to, again, instead of a top-down mandate, giving free people the opportunity to make decisions for themselves where to go and when to go to some of these places. We've been really thankful for the hard work of our staff, this Board of Health, Tri-County Health, and many others in terms of getting variances accepted and approved for a variety of things to be open. But we do recognize that even when restaurants and gyms and malls and churches are open, a lot of people still are not going to make the decision to come to those places, and we're seeing that. So that's an important part of the discussion, and I'd like to turn it over to Commissioner Thomas to further discuss. And I'm sorry, it may be
Layden. I think we're going to go over to Commissioner Partridge at this time.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner Thomas and Layden and Terry. We appreciate this. And so I'm just going to do a little bit of a wrap up on some additional data. And I know Dr. Douglas will do the cleanup as a kind of baseball terms. So we talk about a couple things. We talk about the total test. I'm going to refer to that and encourage some more testing. Let's talk first about the positives. The positives we've had, we haven't, I wouldn't call it necessarily, a surge, but we have had increase in the last week. And it's interesting. We've had in the last week, 82, in the last 7 days, 82 positive tests. But that's out of 1,694 tests totally done. So that gives you what we call the positivity rate, or how many tests were positive out of all those. It's below 5%, which we have been consistently. Through this whole time, we're only at 5.6% positive tests, which is amazing credit to the citizens of Douglas County on all the work being done. Now, we're very fortunate through getting these results through Tri-County and the CDPHE to provide that. But with these results, we know that's one reason we're given the variances we are. As Commissioner Thomas reported on another way to look at it, the severity of the hospitalization. So let me just real quick mention on tests. We are averaging somewhere in the mid 200s of the number of tests per day. Ideally, Tri-County would like to see up over 500 per day. So we encourage anyone to be tested, especially if you feel you have any degree of symptoms. I got to tell you, I had a few symptoms last week. I was very concerned, a little fever, some body aches, a little fatigue, and to the point of I'm not going to hesitate. My wife and I went and got tested. We were both negative. And I just had a minor ear infection. That's what it was. So if you are showing any symptoms, we encourage you to please be tested. And even if you're not showing symptoms, you can be tested. Multiple sites, you can see our website, Tri-County's website, and even the state site where you can be tested. So please, if you feel anything or if you have a desire to be tested, please do so. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you, Commissioner Partridge. At this time, we'll go to Dr. Douglas for his update.
Thanks, Terry. My update's going to be short because we've got three new members of our public health department. There are three commissioners who've done such a great job summarizing the data. I just want to allude to two things, really, to emphasize Commissioner Partridge's point that testing is increasing in Douglas County with a low percent positivity. And the reason that's important is that we believe the increased number of cases that have been seen in Douglas County, there has been an uptick at this point, is almost certainly due to the increased testing. I'm sorry you were sick, Commissioner. Glad you're better and glad your test was negative. I do want to note that we as the Public Health Department try to be vigilant we've certainly been hearing reports from across the country about areas where, frankly, there was probably not enough vigilance. We're getting hospital capacity problems in a number of states, particularly Texas, Florida, and Arizona. I think Colorado's cautious and thoughtful approach to allowing communities to get back to a more normal circumstances, Commissioner Layden eloquently outlined, is what we'd like to continue striving for. So it's that careful balance. I will briefly mention that one of the opportunities that all local jurisdictions in Colorado are going to have in the upcoming several weeks is the opportunity to have more local control by qualifying for what the governor has entitled a Protect Our Neighbor public health order status. And frankly, it allows most facilities to open up with higher capacity levels, 50% of pre-pandemic capacity, as long as certain metrics of the kind that Commissioner Partridge and Layden and Thomas have talked about: hospital capacity, hospitalizations, how many cases are occurring, what the positivity rate is. We're just now, as the health department, trying to figure out exactly what an application for that looks like. But I do think that provides one more opportunity for things to be able to move forward in Douglas County. Again, I know I sound like the scold in all this, but again, with the idea that we do so cautiously, as we have been doing, so that we have the chance to enjoy fairs and fireworks displays and restaurants gradually increasing capacity. We do it carefully. We stay home when we're sick. We get tested, as Commissioner Partridge did when we're sick. We are careful about social distancing. If we're in one of the vulnerable groups of being older or having underlying illness, we're particularly careful. And we try to wear face coverings when we can't avoid being close to people, since the data about their impact on preventing transmission is increasing. So congratulations, Douglas County, for having such great metrics. Happy 4th of July to everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Douglas. Before you jump off, we're going to add one caller in here, one of our live callers, Leslie from Parker. Leslie, you're live with the doctor.
Yes, I was just curious if Douglas County was going to continue to be able to operate a little bit differently or independently of the Tri-County guidelines going forward. I understand now that the governor's come out with this county by county thing. Maybe my question is a moot point, but just was wondering before he announced that if Douglas County, based on their good numbers, was going to be allowed to and continue to operate independent of Arapahoe and Adams.
Let me try to clarify a few things. First of all, Douglas County is currently, as you put it, operating under the governor's guidelines, but as the commissioners have pointed out, through the variance process, have been able to get more and more things opened up. Once they qualify for the once the county qualifies for the Protect Our Neighbors category, it is still under state order, but it's under state order in a much, I'd say, more flexible setting, where capacity issues that come up can be dealt with directly with Tri-County and not through the state apparatus. So a big state umbrella, but Douglas County is allowed to do much more local planning and decision making with the health department. So I hope that makes what can be a confusing situation more clear.
Thank you, Commissioners and Dr. Douglas. And now, Commissioners, we have so many questions coming in about the status of the Douglas County variance request. Can you give our participants an update on those and what the next phase of reopening will look like? We'll start with Commissioner Partridge.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you to the listening audience. Many questions on it. We were very fortunate through the help of Tri-County and our wonderful staff and the local businesses to receive a variance on Friday, which, as I understand, I think Dr. Douglas could verify this for us, that it is the most anyway, I don't want to say lenient, but we are allowed the most amount of people for certain venues and activities of any county in the area. So we're allowed to have 250 on outdoor events and 175 on indoor events with proper social distancing, proper techniques all the way through. And there is a little exclusion there for team sports. They're limited to 50 players, I believe. And I know probably Melissa Saeger will give us that further details, but I want to turn it over to the other commissioners and Tri-County Health necessary. But we've been very fortunate, but it's through great numbers, through the audience and the rest of Douglas County and the great help of Tri-County.
Commissioner Partridge, would you like to talk anything about the fair while you're on?
Sure. If you want me to just mention about the fair, you know that. I sure do. Thank you. So things are continuing to move forward with the fair. So we're very pleased with that increased variance for 250 for outdoor events. We were planning on the fair anyway. It will be a little bit different. We're calling it a throwback fair, but we will see the hometown rodeo. You'll see bull riding. We will see 2 rodeo events. But the most important thing we will have is there will be the 4-H shows for all the children to display their animals and their techniques and how they have raised and handled the animals. And then we will have the 4-H sale and the auction. So that'll be wonderful. That will continue on. We'll start July 24th and end on August 2nd. I'm sad to say that with the challenges of not only the social distancing, but because of a route for the parade, the Castle Rock Chamber, who hosts that, has decided that it's just too many complications. The fair parade this year has been canceled. Again, it's actually the Castle Rock Chamber parade. But to hear that, but we're doing everything we can to put on as much of a normal fair for the children and the rodeo contestants.
Okay, thanks, Commissioner Partridge. Next up, Commissioner Layden.
Thank you, Terry. And let me just give a shout of thanks to Commissioner Partridge and the Fair Board for really being so innovative in this unusual year. I think the county fair is going to be absolutely fantastic. It's just going to be a little bit different. So we're really excited about that. But I just wanted to give some additional specifics on the variances that we submitted. And some specifics on a couple that I know we're getting a lot of questions about. So, as you know, on May 22nd, churches, gyms, restaurants, and retail were approved under certain parameters, and we were very thankful for that and the hard work of staff and Tri-County Health in getting those approved. On June 26th, some additional variances were also granted due to the same hard work of those entities, and that included pools, larger gatherings, team sports and tournaments, theaters, bowling alleys, cultural event venues, and libraries. And I know we're going to hear a little bit more about libraries from one of our special guests today, but I wanted to share some specifics on pools and larger gatherings because we're just getting so many questions from citizens about that. So in terms of pools, again, that was approved on June 26th. They are open at 50% capacity up to 175 people per indoor space. They're open at 50% capacity up to 250 people for an outdoor space. So 250 for an outdoor space at 50% capacity. Again, that's under the Safer at Home and in the Vast Great Outdoors and the executive order as modified by Douglas County's variance that was approved by CDPHE on June 26th. In terms of social gatherings and larger venues, those are open at 50% capacity, again, up to 175 people per indoor space. And then the same for the outdoor space, open at 50% capacity, up to 250 people in that outdoor space. So hopefully that answers some questions. We know there are a lot of people that want to gather and do it safely. So we're really thankful for those variances being approved. And then I'd like to turn it over to Commissioner Thomas to talk a little bit more about what's currently happening with CDPHE. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you, Commissioner Layden. Commissioner Thomas?
Thank you, Terry. So yesterday we all heard the governor do a presentation that he's going to move us to protecting our neighbors. We probably won't get orders right away about what that means. And we've heard there's going to be more local control, and that's something we're really looking forward to because our numbers are so different and so low than the other counties that we know that our citizens can handle this with personal responsibility and be safe. Because we don't know really what the details are going to be, and there's a lot of people listening to hear about the libraries, I'd like to yield my time on so people can hear from Sean Duffy. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you, Commissioner Thomas. Thank you, Commissioners. A reminder, if you're just joining us, press *3 on your phone keypad at any time to ask a question. And now let's hear from our special guest from the Douglas County Library Board of Trustees, Sean Duffy. Mr. Duffy?
Thank you, Terry, and thank you for the opportunity to just share some of the best news about what's been happening lately. I just want to really start by thanking our commissioners for your incredible leadership and pushing hard to have us reopen safely but strongly, and also very, very appreciative to the team, Dr. Douglas and his team at Tri-County Health, for recognizing that we in Douglas County really can do this the right way. We're so excited that we opened our doors to the public on Monday, and customers are coming back. During this whole period, we've really stressed two things. One is innovation, and the second is restoration. As you all know, and we're so appreciative to the citizens of Douglas County for all your support of the libraries, our entire ethos is to be innovative, to be entrepreneurial, and to really reflect the way the private sector would operate. And so, despite the challenge, our staff worked hard throughout the closure period. The biggest thing I think most people saw was we went to a virtual story time. We can't quite get to restore our in-person story time yet. We're looking forward to that opportunity, hopefully in the near future. And the big thing, obviously, everybody saw was the institution of curbside service, which was a new offering, a brand new offering, and it was incredibly popular and helpful to folks. And so we engaged in that. And also we've had a bunch of other services, including outdoor movies, birthday parties we've been doing, outdoor barbecue services, all available on our website you can look at. But the good news now is that we are open, and that's our restoration phase. I was in our library in Lone Tree yesterday. It's as you can expect. We have requirements for social distancing, as you would in any retail facility. But for the most part, our staff is wearing masks, as you would see in other retail facilities. But we really are welcoming back our patrons. It's just great to be back in the library. You can come in and browse, use the services that you have been accustomed to. Our study rooms are open by reservation. No drop-in yet, and there'll be social distancing requirements there. Our staff's happy to help you. So we are just so grateful to everyone for the opportunity to begin serving our customers in person, and we're looking forward to those numbers growing. We're open. We're welcome back, all of you, and come see us as soon as you can, because we're open for business. So thank you, Terry. Thank you, commissioners, for the opportunity.
Thank you so much for being with us tonight, Mr. Duffy. We appreciate you taking the time to share this information. Just a reminder, to ask a question, you can press *3 on your phone or send your question through the website at douglas.co.us/townhall. Now let's get to a couple of questions. Our first question is an online question from Elena. This one is for Melissa. Can you please discuss the variance that was just granted specifically in relation to weddings?
Yes, I'd be happy to. This was one of the variances that was granted just recently. As Commissioner Layden pointed out, folks can have 175 people indoors or 250 people outdoors for these larger gatherings. When the State Health Department granted this approval, they did say that Douglas County must continue following guidance for indoor and outdoor events that are posted on the state's website and contained in the Safer at Home public health order. Most of these requirements align with what Douglas County was requesting. Some of the additional requirements are a requirement for all attendees to be wearing masks. That was not included in the Douglas County variant, but is included in the state requirement. I encourage you to take a look at CDPHE's website for guidance for indoor and outdoor events under Safer at Home. And if you have any questions, please reach out to our Business Reopening Task Force. They can be reached at COVID Business Recovery at tchd.org, and we'd be happy to chat through all of the requirements.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Saeger. Our next question is for Sean Duffy. We love having events at the library. Your event staff does a great job. Can we start booking our meetings at the library again?
Absolutely. Thank you for the question. We are our meetings and events department, which is really hotel quality services, is open for smaller gatherings. There will be social distancing requirements for those gatherings, and if you go through our website, you will see that you can get right to our events department and learn. But we are welcoming folks back for smaller gatherings. And, you know, one of the things we're trying to do is, some people say we need a new normal. We're really trying to, as smartly as we can, as safely as we can, get back to the old normal. And so part of the old normal are those wonderful community gatherings, meetings that are hosted at our library. So yes, slowly we're coming back, but your smaller gatherings are most welcome at Douglas County Libraries.
Thank you, Mr. Duffy. Just a reminder, press *3 on your telephone keypad if you have a question you would like to present to the board. All right, it's time for our first poll. Poll question number 1. Have you participated in previous Douglas County live town hall events? Press 1 for no. This is my first time participating on these events. Press 2 for yes, I have participated on one or a couple previously. Or press 3, I have participated on several events. Again, 1 for no, 2 for yes on a couple, and 3, I've participated on several events. Okay, at this time, we'll go to a live caller, Shannon from Highlands Ranch. This question's for Melissa. Shannon, you are live.
Hey, Melissa. Factually, I was just curious. I have been told that once somebody tests positive, that they keep getting retested until they receive 2 negatives, and that all of those positives that they might receive get lumped into the case numbers for the state. So one person might contribute 6 or 8 positives to the numbers. And I was just curious if that's true. People have told me this information comes from doctors, and I don't know what to make of it.
Thanks for the question, Shannon, and we really appreciate you reaching out and encourage others to do the same when you have questions about these things. There are 2 methods for returning back to work. One is symptom-based and one is testing-based. Symptom-based means you can return to work once you've been fever-free without fever-reducing medications for 3 days, and your symptoms have greatly improved for 3 days, and at least 10 days have passed since your symptoms appeared. And I know that that's a lot, and we have additional information on our website, so I encourage you to check out our website for more information. But the second is what you're talking about. It's negative testing, which requires 2 negative tests. However, retesting of a positive individual is not recommended for the general public. But the reporting system is patient-centric, which means it would link 2 results to a single person's file. So our data only shows the amount of people who have tested positive, not how many times they've tested positive. So we see those numbers, but it doesn't contribute into the overall positive rate. I hope that answered your question. I know it was a lot.
Okay, our next question is from Anna in Highlands Ranch. This is for Mr. Duffy. Anna, you are live.
Mr. Duffy, I have a question about the library and the books we can check out. I know soon people are going to start going in and everybody touches books when they're looking at them. Do we have to let these books set for 3 or 4 days after we check them out, due to the fact that the hardbacks usually have a plastic cover and the paperback hardcover or paperback cover?
That is a great question, Anna. We actually looked at that very, very carefully. And what is happening is there is a period, by the time the books come back, they spend time being processed back into the system. And then in some cases, they move around to other libraries. And so there is a significant period of time where they are out of circulation. And the experts, national experts of libraries, are saying that that period where the library books are out of circulation is more than sufficient. Plus, obviously, we clean things when they come in, and when everything is, at a high rate of cleanliness and sanitation. That goes without saying. But that time where they're being processed and moving around and getting back on the shelves is sufficient time that the concern about you picking up the virus from the book cover would abate. And so we've been, with our staff and our CEO, Bob Pasnick, have been in dialogue with library experts from all over the country. And obviously every library system is thinking exactly what you're thinking. And so that's the determination they made. So come on back, grab your books, grab your holds, and we are very, very confident you'll be quite safe.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Duffy. Our next call is from Desi in Parker. Desi, you are live.
Thank you. I just wanted to take a minute and thank Melissa Saeger for your help with the client. I am the general manager and regional manager for the Pinery Country Club and the Club at Pradera. Melissa, you were instrumental in helping me with a client that was having an event at our club and really helped us ensure that we were doing all the necessary steps from a staffing and operational standpoint, and was very helpful in getting the client at a very good place. The event was a success, and I think everybody felt very safe. Thanks again, Melissa. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to spend time with one of our clients. So thank you.
I'll be right back at you. It was a pleasure working with you and your staff, and we hope other businesses reach out to us too. It was a fantastic experience. Happy to hear that it went well.
Okay, our next caller is Shanti from Highlands Ranch. Shanti, you're up. Shanti,
hi, thank you for everybody. I really appreciate it. My husband and I just moved here. Was not a very good time to move. And so we're looking for where we can get COVID testing. I've made multiple phone calls and it's been a little bit difficult. So I'd really appreciate some advice on that.
Shanti, thank you for the question, and we hope Colorado is serving you well now that you're here. The Tri-County Health Department, that represents Douglas County as their local public health agency, has testing information on our website. So if you go to tchd.org, and if you click COVID-19 updates at the top, you'll see a testing link right on that page. It says testing for COVID-19, and you can see a wide variety of resources we have here, depending on your location, depending on what's convenient. Some resources all the way into Denver, down into Douglas County, and we also post our pop-up testing sites, which we have had in Douglas County. So check out our website, and you'll also find contact information there. If you still have a difficult time lining something up, reach out to our call center. You'll see their information on the page, and they'll be able to help you.
Okay, our next question comes online from Lisa. And this is for Ms. Saeger. For Douglas County, Tri-County Health, have any parameters changed regarding access to senior care facilities? And will our Douglas County facilities have different directives if they are COVID-19 free versus not?
That's a fantastic question, and it's something that we had been waiting for quite some time, but the state just released guidance for visitation at long-term care facilities. It does have requirements regarding cases and outbreaks, and it also has different guidance in place for outdoor visits. It will depend on the facility that you're visiting. It'll depend on if they have the staff to monitor visits like that. It requires checking all guests for symptoms, asking a variety of questions, directing folks, controlling movement and keeping groups small. And so some facilities may not have the resources to do that more immediately. But we are working to connect with those facilities and chat through how they can have outdoor visitors in groups of 8 or fewer and how they can keep those safe. So if you have questions, please reach out to Tri-County, but know that we are working with the state as those things develop.
Thank you, Ms. Saeger. At this time, we're going to take our second poll. We'd like to make sure you stay informed about what's happening in Douglas County. If you'd like to continue receiving information from the county, please press 1 on your phone now. All right, at this time, we will take another online question for Ms. Saeger. This question is from Elaine. Can anyone in Douglas County get COVID tested even without symptoms?
Elaine, thank you for the question. If you check out our testing site and information on testing, there's additional information there. It depends on your situation. So there's a variety of different factors that we look at, like if you were a healthcare worker or vulnerable or work with vulnerable folks. So it really depends on your individual situation, but that information is on our website. Again, tchd.org, our COVID updates and testing. And of course, if you have questions, please feel free to reach out.
Thank you very much to Mr. Duffy, Ms. Saeger, Dr. Douglas, the Board of County Commissioners, and everyone who joined us tonight. You've asked so many thoughtful questions tonight. We appreciate you taking the time out of your evening to be with us. We have time for a few more questions before we wrap up. Our next question comes live from Shumer in Castle Rock. Shumer, you are on with the commissioners.
Hi, I just have a question with the commissioners. Thank you for all your work that you're doing for Douglas County. I work in an office environment where, it's kind of hard to maintain 50% capacity. We are able to do that with the social distancing in place, but, at what point can we look at to increasing capacity where, where the cubes are going to be structured in a way that we might not be able to maintain those 6 feet distance capacity. At our office, we still are mandating face coverings in office areas and common areas. So are there any guidelines or anything that we can follow for exemptions or something like that? Thank you.
Commissioner Thomas, do you feel comfortable answering it?
I actually think we heard Melissa's voice, and Melissa probably has a better handle on this. Thank you.
I'm so sorry, Commissioner Thomas. I went into automatic mode on that one. I have been working on this, but it really is a great question. We have been working with our office spaces. There's a variety of different ways that we're looking at to separate spaces, like barriers, plexiglass, not just having that 6-foot distancing, but having those cube spaces between. The masking requirement does go on for some time in those common areas whenever you're moving about. But when you're 6 feet away from others in your cube by yourself or in your office, being able to remove that mask. If you check out the State Health Department's website for office-based businesses, under Safer at Home, there is guidance there for these office-based businesses. And our Business Reopening Task Force is happy to chat through any of those requirements, alternative approaches to get where you need to be, and what we see for future capacity limits on office space. So if you would like to reach out to our task force, they can be reached at COVID Business Recovery at tchd.org, and we'd be happy to provide more information.
Thank you, Ms. Saeger. Our next question goes to Mr. Duffy. I heard that there are opportunities for at-home events such as backyard barbecues and other activities. Can you tell me more about this?
Yes, thank you so much for the question. We are very excited as part of the innovations that we instituted during the COVID shutdown period and have kept in place since. We've had such things as we have large movie screens. People have done neighborhood movie events. We'll set them up. Those are so popular that I think they are subscribed well through the end of the summer. But if good weather continues, let's use those. We'll do backyard barbecue. We do birthday parties. Pretty much, if you can think of it, we'll do it. And you should go to dcl.org. That's dcl.org to look at these really special, interesting, fun events that are available. I know there's still some backyard barbecue opportunities that are still available for the summer, so check it out. Thank you, Terry.
All right, thank you, Mr. Duffy. Just a final reminder, if your question wasn't answered tonight, we encourage you to visit douglas.co.us/citizenconnect to submit your question, and we will respond. And be sure to join us again next time for additional updates on our economic reopening. Before we conclude our live town hall, we'd like to give your Douglas County Commissioners a few moments for final comments. Commissioner Partridge, let's hear from you first.
Thank you, Terry. And again, thank you to the listening audience. We really appreciate the opportunity to address you. Thank you for Mr. Sean Duffy, Ms. Melissa Saeger, and Dr. Douglas for joining us. We commissioners are really thankful that we have the opportunity to present to you. Hopefully we present information that is helpful and that we are able to get your questions answered. We understand there's still some that are very sensitive, so we encourage you do what you can to take care of yourselves. And we are very thankful for those who are out and about, following all the proper procedures, but also getting our economy back on a roll and getting workers back to their jobs to be able to take care of the family. And, just being back is one way to minimize stress. And I'll just finish up my parts with saying everything you can do to stay healthy right now prepares you and prevents you from catching anything, even if it's just fatigue. But any type of decreased stress on yourself improves your condition to be able to fight off anything. So continue to encourage you to sleep well, eat well, exercise, and minimize the stress in your life. Thank you again, everyone. God bless. Good night.
Thank you, Commissioner Partridge. Commissioner Layden, your final comments.
Thank you so much, Terry, and thank you, Commissioner Partridge. Additional gratitude to Bob Pasnick and Sean Duffy again at the libraries. Wow, we are just so thankful for the incredible leadership that you provide. I also wanted to just send a shout out to all of the recent graduates that had a live in-person graduation. We received just an outpouring of really encouraging comments from members of the school community, parents, staff, students, and just wanted to thank all of the principals, the school district, and the leadership there to that were able to make that happen. In addition, with Tri-County Health, for all of our wonderful graduates, it's really exciting that that occurred. So thanks for the kind notes. I also wanted to send a note of thanks out to the Douglas County Sheriff's Office, South Metro Fire, and all of the regional air support with regard to the recent fire in Backcountry. The commissioners were at Thunder Ridge High School, coordinating a bit with the American Red Cross, handing out waters, connecting with citizens that had been displaced from the Backcountry fire, and just seeing in the distance the smoke dissipate and the skies return to blue was very encouraging, and we're thankful for the resources that are being provided. We're so sensitive to the issues of fire danger, and we're going to be cognizant of that going into the 4th of July weekend, but just know we'll be looking at that every day If they get canceled due to fire, we'll know that will be an objective decision and the right decision, but we really hope we can be out there celebrating our liberty and our independence with you on Saturday. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, Commissioner Layden. Commissioner Thomas, your final remarks.
Thank you, Terry. I'd like to thank everybody who tuned in this evening and listened to us. We know this has been a difficult time, but information helps everybody do things better. We've been answering a lot of emails from you, so if you didn't get your questions answered today, go to our website, douglas.co.us/Citizen Connect, and you will get an answer from one of us about what your question is. And I'd like to wish all of you a very pleasant 4th of July. You can see over my shoulder, there's a couple of flags. I've got another flag in my office. I think we have a great republic form of government, and that involves all of you being the people who are the voices that we listen to, because we are a representative form of government. So thank you, everybody. God bless, and have a great 4th of July. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Commissioner Thomas. On behalf of Douglas County, the Tri-County Health Department, and the Douglas County Library, thank you for sharing your time with us. We hope you will join us again for future town halls. Be well, be blessed, and good night.